Graham, good to see you again. I'll just start on the numbers front. How are you going into Monday?
Yeah, pretty much the same. Obviously, Neil Byrne has trained a little bit more this week, so we're going to assess him as we go over the weekend. But Aidan's joined in training today, so we'll assess how he is over the weekend as well. But Monday, I would think, will be too soon for him. And everyone else is where they were, really.
How is Alex Patterson?
He's going to be out for a few weeks. He's got a strain of his adductor that he picked up in the Harrogate game. So, that's why he came off, and that's what the scan says. So we're just see how his rehab goes. I don't think it's something major. Well, it's not, and so probably a couple of 4 weeks.
How patient are you going to have to be with particularly Neil and Aidan? Obviously, they've been out for a little while, and they're a big part of how you play in the previous system. Yep. But obviously, you don't want to rush them back too soon.
No, I think we always talk about the risk and reward, and it's still early in the season. We obviously want them back. They're good players. Berners slightly ahead of Aidan, as in he's been on the grass a couple of days before him, but he also didn't miss as long either. So, I think he's more likely out of the two of them to be an option for us next week. But we always assess the risk, and if it's too much, then we won't go with it, because we need them back. We want them back, but we want them back for the long term, not just for one game.
We've had the chance to speak with Paul Huntington. It's been really good to meet him for the first time and chat at length about his career in terms of where it was at coming into this season, obviously the PFA camp that he was a part of, and then eventually signing for you on a short-term deal. I know I asked you after the game on Tuesday about what he brings, the obvious being that experience, but just how valuable has it been to have him in and around the group, and with the injuries that we've already acknowledged and identified, to have that number in and the experience that he brings? Yeah,
I think that he brings a calming influence on the training pitch. I think he's obviously well versed in professional football and being in change rooms and joining new clubs. So it's been a seamless sort of addition to us, to be fair. He's trained with us every day for maybe 10 days or so. I think he was really hungry for this opportunity. As soon as we made contact with him about the potential opportunity of coming in, he was here straight away. There was no and ahhing. So I think it was from that perspective, from me as a manager, he was really positive about this chance. I had a good chat with him the other day actually about it. The whole process of being out of contract and stuff like that, because it's something he experienced when he left Preston and then joined Carlisle. Something I experienced once right at the end of my career as well. But you don't know what's around the corner, and good pros keep themselves ready. If he didn't really feel the hunger to play football, then he wouldn't have kept himself fit and available. And so it was, because it was a commitment for him to go to that PFA training camp. You're away from your family. You're not getting paid. But hopefully it'll pay off for him, because he's obviously a top pro. But time catches up with us all eventually. But if you do the right things and you live right, then you give yourself the best chance of maintaining what you had before, and I think Hunty's done that.
He was really good in how much he told us about just his drive and his hunger to keep going, and how, really this wasn't a money thing. This was about him playing and wanting to prove to himself that he can still compete and do it at his age. And we spoke about the stigma that maybe surrounds footballers when they reach a certain age, and I wonder just how much you valued that in him, that hunger and the desire to maybe just prove to himself that he can still compete at that level at that age. Yeah,
we were quite honest with him straight away that it was potential for short term. It was potentially wasn't going to be breaking the bank, but he came in and wanted to prove his worth, and we don't know what it will lead to. Obviously, we didn't just put that tag on it that it is only a short term, but initially it will be that way, and we all have to have a leap of faith. I think we've had a leap of faith with him. I think he's had a leap of faith with us. You got to back yourself as a player. That ultimately that's what happens. You get judged all your life from the age of 16 onwards in the professional game, but you have to have confidence in yourself. But you have to have a hunger inside that you want to play. Like I say, it's not gonna change his lifestyle in any way, financially, coming to us. But he wants to play football. He's a professional footballer. He's been at it for 17, 18 years. He's not ready to go on to passage new. He wants to play. So I could see that in the way he came in. I could see it in his training, and what I know of him reputationally from previous clubs, certainly Preston North End. Everyone talks about him in a real positive light.
Obviously, it's a real disappointment to hear the news about Alex's injury. Obviously, lost Anthony for a period of time. Yeah. Joe, could be his season done because of the injury that he got. And I know that we spoke a couple of weeks ago when talking about the free agent market. Obviously, Paul, very obviously a defender, but is that still something that's an option for you in terms of an 8 or a midfielder as a possibility? Yeah,
it is. It is. I think we have to be practical and understand that we're under the cosh a little bit. And all the difficult we've had is they've all been in 2 specific positions. 3 centre halves, 3 centre midfield players, all attacking midfield players. So it's not been spread around the positionally the squad. It's been those 2 positions exactly, and obviously the centre halves has been difficult because it was our whole back 3. So we've brought Hunty in. We know Berner and Aidan are really close, but we still felt we had the need to bring somebody else in, which Hunty has done. And I do believe we potentially need a midfield player to support what we have here as well, because we are obviously light on the ground, and Joe isn't going to be with us probably. Sars is still going to be a little while. Pato probably 3-4 weeks. So and even when Pato's fit, we're still a little bit light, I would say. So we're doing our due diligence. We know of the names that are out there. We're getting sent names from different contacts and agents and so forth, but we have to make sure that they're right for what we need, not just any player, just bring him in and let him run around. It's not right. It wouldn't be right on the player, because we're looking at someone we wouldn't sign, and it wouldn't be right on us. We have to be specific with what we want.
And have you had anyone in to train with you yet on that front?
We have this week, just for a couple of days. So we're looking at him now, and he was the same situation as Hunty, where we spoke to him and straight away he was up for the challenge. So it's a stage where I don't want to be bringing in 3-4 trialists. We did a little bit of that at the start of pre-season because of the time of year. I don't want it to be like that. I still believe that the players we have are good enough to form a good enough team. It's obvious for me, but it's just the support for that team at the moment and the competition. So we have to do the right thing. It'll be potentially something along the same lines as Hunty, like a short term, see how we get on deal if we do offer anything, and so we see how we go.
I know injuries are part and parcel of football, they happen, but the volume of injuries and key positions, as you've said, how difficult has it been the last couple of weeks or so? Frustrating? How has it been?
All those words and more, because we felt we started the season strong. You could see the quality that we'd added to the squad. Thought we had real strong competition throughout the pitch, it hurts because it all happened almost all at once over the space of 3 or 4 games. And I think we've had unavailable 7 of the team that started the first 3 or 4 games. From the outfield players. That's a big chunk. And so it was difficult because all of a sudden it thrust players into it all at the same time, which is difficult to get up to speed when you haven't been here all pre-season, or you haven't been playing week in, week out. It's all right slipping in 1 or 2 amongst that team that's been playing regular, but when it's 5, 6 and potentially more, it's difficult. So but what I said, I think all those players have really good attributes. I think they all need our support and our experience. I saw that grow in the game the other night, from a really difficult first half, and certainly first difficult 20 minutes. I thought the second half they showed great composure. They showed that they learnt from the first half to take it into the second half, and that's part of the process of building a career. So It is what it is. We don't. I'm never one for panicking or all this crisis sort of stuff. We just look at the situation. We're trying to find an answer for it, really, rather than look at the back and say, oh, if this, if that. We just go, okay, what can we do? Yeah. And that's always my approach to life. I think it's the sensible approach. So, like I say, the last couple of games, I've not said, oh, we haven't won because of this. I still expected that team to put on better performances. That's it, you know what I mean? But we do also have to understand the scenario they've come into all at the same time. And it's going to be difficult, but I still believe in them as players 100%.
Experience teaches you that, doesn't it? And I guess when you've been a manager for that amount of years, you've seen these before, and you can have that kind of notion to look back on. But not everyone has that experience, I guess. No. And how fine a balance is that for you in being pragmatic and realistic about the situation when assessing the overall form, how things are going at the moment?
Well, I don't see any other way, to be honest. I don't. What's the option? Yeah. I don't get what the other option is. It's just, or giving up is an option. That's definitely not on anyone's page. So the only option is, right, find a solution. That's it. Even when I'll look back to the MK game when we picked up a fantastic victory, we were still looking at things that we had to have a balance to. So we didn't go away thinking, God, we are the best team in the world. We've just beat somebody really, really good, 2-1 away from home. That's us. We're a flying machine. We looked at in a sensible way where we can improve, what we had good on that day, and we've done the same this week and the week before. It's a way of trying to keep a balance. I know how much work these players and this group puts into their job. If they let themselves down or we let ourselves down, I let them know. You know what I mean? And I've done that. But if they've shown great character, great personality, and they've dug in and they've picked up look, it's not what we went there for, is the point, but the way we started the game and how we finished the game and played the whole second half and the amount of opportunities and the amount of pressure and how we played in possession, then I've got nothing but I've got a pat on the back for the players, because they showed character and they showed that they wanted to win. We never give up. And that's a skill in itself, and that's an attribute to have. And if we want to be successful, we have to have that running through our veins, that we never give up. And that hasn't been the case. So that's how I see football. It's how I see it. I told the players at half-time, I've lost hundreds of games, I'm still here. What's the worst can happen? No, it is. It's reality. Football's so important to a lot of people, and people are passionate about it. But there's other things in life that are really vital and really important. This is a sport which we love, so let's love it and let's go out there and express ourselves. And I think the players did that in the second half, and that for me was a step forward in the growth of this team. It's a new squad, a new team, and certainly the players that have played the last couple of games, it's a new career for them, a lot of them. But I saw growth the other day, and that's a step forward. And if we can always take a step forward in that, however small it is, then we'll be in the right direction. And that's how I see the forming of this group of players.
And a Monday night game up for you next, at home as well, back at home. Just in terms of how the week works, obviously not playing at the weekend, how much does it alter things?
It does a bit. I asked one of the players what day it was today. I didn't. I mean, it is. You live your life around fixtures, don't you, and match days. So I did generally. We were talking about the gym times, and we actually, what day is it today? And we couldn't work it out. So it is. But we try to work. We always try to work back from the game, and then we talk about match day -1 and -2, and so how we've worked out our schedule for the next or this 2-week period is always working back from the furthest game and making sure the preparation in the 48 hours leading up to every game is as consistent as it can. But the training days are mixed up. So same as everything, it's there. We deal with it. That's what it is. I don't see any other option in life apart from we're all here to fix issues, and if you're in a position of responsibility, so we find a solution and we crack on with our jobs.
Thank you, Graham.
Okay, mate.
So, Graham, the other day, obviously, we were talking about Richie Smallwood reaching 500 games.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us were aware that it was your 500th game until the graphic got dropped. So on the day. I mean, the situation you have to deal with now in terms of injuries in the same position and stretching resources and as you do, think back to when you were, you talk about the experience of not sort of panicking in that situation.
Yeah.
If you'd been a young manager at the start of your career, would you have been able to deal with this as sort of pragmatically and perhaps as realistically as you're doing it now?
No, probably not. But I've always been. I think over my time as a player, I learned about emotional control and not panicking. I think that came from as a player. From a penalty taking, sort of practice. If you panic in that situation, then you've got no chance. So I learnt a lot of control and emotional control over that. So it gave me a lot of training actually to control my thoughts, my emotions, and trust my training, my practice, all that sort of thing. And I tried to take that into my managerial career. I think I did have that attribute really early on in my managerial career, but I've certainly learnt a lot from all the challenges that come your way all the time. If I look back, if there's any time in my career that I panicked, it was very rarely successful. As a player, there was a time where it was like, oh my God, we have to do this. It wasn't usually a good outcome. I think it was better when you sat down, you thought about it, and you spoke to people, and you came up with a sensible solution. I think that's always the solution to the problem. Really, I think there's times in games because it's instant. You might have to make substitutes, and it's really quick, and you have to think really quickly. But I think if you have time to think, then take that time to address it. So, you learn a lot over your career as a player, as a manager, in life, just growing up and stuff like that. So, I would like to think you try to advance your skill set as you go along. If you don't, and then you're not really being self-reflective, I don't think.
Do you think management, in the 12 years you've been in management, do you feel it's changed? Can you sort of notice big changes or just gradual? Or?
Yeah, in some aspects, yeah. I think it's it seems like gradual, but then it seems like that really. So I think still I was well aware going into my first job the need to win games. I was very aware of that because obviously as I got older in my playing career, I spoke to managers and had good conversations with people, and then when I was going into the management game, I spoke to a couple of mentors that said win games. There's rule number 1 and 2 and 3. So that was it. So that hasn't changed. I think there's outside things. Social media's gone through the roof in the last few years.
Does that sort of impact you a lot more than perhaps you thought it was when it first appeared?
It doesn't impact me at all because I don't have it. I don't look at, but I know it impacts people around me. So ultimately, it does impact me in that second hand, I would say. Family, friends, players, staff, people you work for, all that sort of thing. So it has a long-reaching sort of tentacle, really, social media. So, but it's the same thing. I deal with it. I deal with it if I feel the need to be dealt with. So if I feel someone's being affected by it in a negative way, then I have to speak to them and try and give them some semblance of reality. But it doesn't affect me because I don't see any of it, to be honest. But there's other things, agents, transfer windows, that's come in, through my time. Excuse me, different rule changes to managers, all that sort of thing. So there's a lot of stuff that you have to, learn as you go along. But I think the general, what I've always tried to do is break my job down to quite simple basics, and that's getting a group of players together to win a game of football as often as possible. And deal with the other stuff as much as I can away from the players. That's one thing I do try to do, is let them enjoy their football and let me worry about the rest along with my staff.